When the farmers are done with their daily tasks and gather around the warmth of their hearth, stories are told of revenants and werewolves, unicorns, witches, fairies, and other creatures of the wood. And those who have to go into the forest the next day to fell some trees might remember some of the old stories and shudder. This here is the legendary forest deck, included in the Agricola 15th anniversary edition, which I recently received. And there's that little flavor text there. The deck, originally published in 2010, is another not entirely serious mini expansion designed by Dale Yu, Eugene Vander Pill, Felix Girk, Jeff Berkman, Hanno Girk, and John Kennard. The cards in this edition have been reworded to comply with the changes made in the revised Agricola. And just like with the X deck, you have some cards that are events, you have some cards that are occupations, minor improvements, major improvement, action spaces. So I'm just going to go through the cards here and show them to you so you can see them one by one. Now there's some flavored text on top that I'm not gonna read, right? It says this card provides room for one person. From the next round on, you can place your last person only after all other players have placed all of their people. When you do, you can use two different action spaces, one after the other. Now again, these are not cards that I'll probably use when playing. I mean, I noticed when I went through the X deck and this deck that there are maybe a couple of cards that might be fun, mixing in. But certainly, I mean, I'm not going to use all of these. I mean, some of these are just way too silly. I'm not going to read the titles either. You can see it because it's just going to kill more time. But I wanted to show you every card. Return all the wood in your supply to the general supply. Double the number of grain and vegetables planted in your fields by adding the new goods on top of the respective pile. And then you shuffle the card back into the deck. Some of these are interesting. You get 3 food and 3 stone, but you get temporarily incarcerated and must therefore skip your next turn. It says here you do not lose that turn, you simply take it later, so I'm not entirely sure what that means. Whoa! I just dropped a couple of cards. Let me pick them up here. Give me a second. Boy, they just slipped right out of my hand. Where are they? Here's one of them. A Midsummer Night's Dream. And here's the other. All right. Back to the regularly scheduled program. Immediately double the amount of grain in your supply. If you have no grain, instead double the number of vegetables in your supply. If you have neither grain nor vegetables, you immediately get 1 grain and 1 vegetable. In the returning home phase of this round, each player gives one of their people to the player to their left. That player must place that person next round in accordance with the rules, but the owner benefits from the chosen action space. In the returning home phase of that round, all people return to their rightful owners, and this gets shuffled back in. It says here, immediately do the following for each type of building resource. The player who has the most of a resource must give one of that resource to the player with the least of it. In case of a tie, you must distribute the resources evenly, or they are all forfeit to the Men in Tights player. Shuffle this card back into the deck. Men in Tights. The Boar King. Immediately double the number of boar you have. If you have no boar, you must instead return all vegetables from your fields. If you had neither boar nor planted vegetables, you can immediately plow 1 field. Immediately give all your sheep to the hermit. Excuse me. Immediately give all your sheep to the hermit. Return them to the general supply. And get an equal number of wood from the general supply. Okay. Immediately take a family growth without room action. You can place the new person beginning from this round. It does not count as a newborn. After the feeding phase of the next harvest, return that person to the supply. Okay. The Unicorn Part 1. In the breeding phase of each harvest and during scoring, the unicorn is considered an animal of your choice for breeding and points. Okay. The Unicorn Part 2. When you draw this card, immediately take a family growth without room action. Even if you cannot take the action, the negative points on this card remain. -3. In the midst of a clearing, well, it's immediately plow up to 3 fields, right? That's the flavor there. The Lady of the Lake Part 2. Take the start player token and remain start player until someone else is declared king by the lady. From now on, the meeting place action space provides only a minor improvement action. Okay. Somebody else is declared king by the lady. Well, if you shuffle the card back in, right? I guess whoever gets it next. Peruvian Inquisition. Immediately return all of your sheep and get an equal number of llamas. So in the anniversary, the 15th anniversary Agricola set, you get, additional tokens for these things, for the Legen-Dairy forest deck and also for the X deck. So there's some chits and different things in there that you can use in the game. So immediately return all of your sheep and get an equal number of llamas. Llamas are a new type of animal and breed as normal. During scoring, llama score as follows for all players. There it is. Each time you use the fishing accumulation space, you get an additional 2 wood. Okay. All right. So you hunt, then there's assignments to get trapped in the quicksand and roast them on the flame spurts. Okay, so basically, I guess you turn in, you hunt unusual sized animals that get trapped in the quicksand and roast them on the flame spurts. So I guess you turn in whichever one of these animals. For each one of them, you get two food, right? Interesting. This is an action space for all. When you use it, you get 10 food, and in the returning home phase, you must return one of your people to the supply instead of your house. Each time you get wood as the only good from an action, you get 1 additional wood from the general supply. Okay. See, I could see using this card. Chuck the Woodchuck. Because that's helpful, right? Maybe slightly unfairly so, but, this is an action space for all. It replaces the Wish for Children action space that comes into play in round 5 through 7. When you use it, you get 5 bonus points, and in the returning home phase, you must return one of your people to the supply instead of your house. And here you got a bunch of stuff, right? This is an action space for all. When you use it, you can take any number of the following actions any number of times. Wow. Sheep there. He burns 3 of your farmyard spaces. These spaces are considered used but cannot be used in any other way. Okay, I'm not sure. I can't really see that. It's sheep and what, 3? I'm not sure. Draw 2 minor improvements with the boar. I guess cattle there is 3 stone. The horse, if you're using that expansion, is 4 fire because you got to, in winter you got to keep your house warm. If you're going to use that expansion. And here, remove an opponent's occupation from play. And in the returning home phase, return one of your people to the supply instead of your house. Crazy. This is an action space for all. Place 2 fairies. See, these fairies. They have the little tokens in there. They're little chits, right? Little cardboard. Place 2 fairies on this card immediately and 1 fairy in the preparation phase of each round. When you use it, you get all the fairies on this card. You can keep up to 2 fairies in each unused farmyard space, which is then considered used. Fairies breed like animals. During scoring, all players with the most fairies get 5 bonus points. There you have it. Silly, but could be fun. This is an action space for all. When you use it, place the person on one side of the card. In the returning home phase, you get all building materials of the respective types that are still on accumulation spaces. So you decide whether you want, to go here or here. Okay. Each time you build fences, you must pay only 1 wood for any number of fences that you build in one straight line. Okay. Immediately return 1 wood to the general supply and place 3 scry counters on this card. At any time, you can remove 1 scry counter from this card to look at the top 3 cards of the forest deck and return them in any order. I'm sorry, I can't. That looks like a tree to me, so I don't know if that's the. I can't see that. I should have had my glasses on. Once there are no more scry counters on, shuffle this card back into the deck. But you can see it there, right? This card provides room for all of the following: a person, a sheep, a boar, a cattle, a horse, and a llama. So this is a card you put in your own board, right? And you can keep all these things in there. Immediately before the returning home phase of each round, select one of your animals, or, if you do not have any, another player's animals to be returned to the general supply. Its owner can then immediately use the effects of an unoccupied action space. And there you have it. This is the Legen-Dairy forest deck included in the Agricola 15th anniversary edition. Interesting.